Let's get into it. Born Lescott Kevin Lyttle Coombs on September 14th, 1976, in Kingstown, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Kevin's life started with more obstacles than open doors. Picture this: narrow cobblestone streets, buzzing with market women selling fresh breadfruit and dasheen, school kids, dodging raindrops during hurricane season, sound systems echoing. Down the block, mixing gospel with calypso, Bob Marley with Sparrow. This was the soundscape of Kevin's childhood. He was raised by a strong single mother, a familiar tale for many West Indians. His father later moved to the United States, leaving Kevin and his mom to hold it down on their own. That meant responsibility came early, but so did music. He began singing in church, performing at concerts and local events, and quickly became a recognizable voice in the community. Music wasn't just a hobby, it was therapy, it was escape, it was calling. But passion doesn't pay the bills. Before fame, Kevin wore many hats: customs officer, radio DJ, jack of all trades. Whatever it took. All while sharpening that voice behind the scenes. And at just 13 years old, he told a girl at school that he was going to marry her someday. Her name? Jacqueline James. She laughed it off. But more on that in a bit. Then came the defining moment. In 2001, at 25 years old, Kevin took 1,500 East Caribbean dollars, his entire savings, and recorded Turn Me On as a soca ballad. It became a Caribbean-wide hit, bubbling on regional airwaves. By 2003, he'd signed with Atlantic Records, remixed the song with Spragabens, and set it loose globally. The result? Turn Me On hit number 2 in the UK, number 4 on the US Billboard Hot 100, and top 5 in dozens of countries. A soca anthem went international, and so did Kevin Lyttle. His debut album went gold in the US, cementing him as the first Vincentian to truly break through on that scale. And unlike many one-hit wonders, Kevin knew how to pivot. He started his own label, Terracon Records, dropped more music, and became a staple of Caribbean crossover. And now we get back to that childhood crush. Kevin really did marry Jacqueline James, the girl he predicted would be his wife when they were both teenagers. And she's no slouch. Dr. Jacqueline James Lyttle is a trailblazer in her own right, becoming the first Black woman to graduate in engineering from the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. Today, Kevin Lyttle's estimated net worth is over $5 million US. Not bad for a man who started with 1,500 East Caribbean dollars, a dream, and a mic. But here's what makes that even more impressive. He's not your typical globetrotting, sold-out arena soca star. You're not seeing Kevin Lyttle World Tour posters plastered across cities every year like Beyoncé or Burna Boy. So how'd he do it? He played the long game and the smart game. After the success of Turn Me On, Kevin didn't just ride the wave and fade into obscurity. He retained ownership of his music, formed his own label, Terracon Records, and kept collecting royalties from licensing, remixes, and international airplay. That one song became a money tree. It was sampled by big artists like Cheat Codes, Let Me Hold You, and Chris Brown Questions, each time bringing in more cash. It's also a timeless track, used in commercials, clubs, streaming playlists, and nostalgic throwbacks on radio stations from New York to Nairobi. Turn Me On isn't just a song anymore, it's an asset. He's also dabbled in strategic collaborations, from Flo Rida to Shaggy, ensuring his music kept crossing borders and platforms. And no, he's not splashing it all in yachts and chains. Kevin Lyttle's wealth is quiet. He's investing in music, family, charity, and long-term moves. His son's nonprofit, Little Feet, is putting shoes on kids' feet. His wife is breaking barriers in her own field. And he's still releasing music, just without the noise. This is quiet wealth, humble power, big boss energy. In a world obsessed with flashing it, Kevin Lyttle is stacking it, low-key, but lasting. Together, they live in Miami and have a son, Kevin Jr., KJ, who's already stepping into legacy territory with his nonprofit, the Little Feet Foundation, which provides shoes for kids in need. This ain't just a love story. It's a legacy built on faith, persistence, and keeping your word. But let's not forget where he came from. St. Vincent and the Grenadines isn't a big country, just about 110,000 people. Compare that to Trinidad's 1.4 million, and it's even more impressive. It's one thing to shine when you're from a cultural juggernaut like TNT, but Kevin did it from a tiny island, proving that greatness has no population requirement. Marshall Montano, Soca King, no debate. But Kevin Lyttle? He's the stealth legend, the man who made Soca global with one song. And nearly 20 years later, nobody has replicated that kind of international chart success for the genre. And let's be real for a second. Kevin's life sounds like a movie. Customs officer by day, singer by night. Predicting your future wife as a teenager. Turning a local hit into a global anthem. Building a family empire and still staying relevant through remixes with cheat codes and samples from Chris Brown. That's icon behavior. So what's the final verdict? Kevin Lyttle might not be the loudest, flashiest name in soca, but he's one of its most important. A man who proved you don't have to shout to be heard around the world. A soft voice with a hard hustle. For millions of people worldwide, Kevin Lyttle wasn't just a hit maker. He was the first reason they ever heard of St. Vincent. Before Turn Me On, SVG was more likely to be confused for a designer label than a Caribbean country. He put Vincent on the map, literally. Now, maybe he's gotten quiet flowers behind the scenes, or maybe those flowers still need to be delivered. Either way, his impact is undeniable. And if there's anyone who deserves to be officially crowned a modern-day musical ambassador for St. Vincent, it's Kevin Lyttle. Turn Me On came out at a time when soca was clean, radio-friendly, and didn't need a censored version to play on every station from BBC to Hot 97. No explicit lyrics, just good vibes, old-school Caribbean rhythm, and sweet whining on a bumper cocked sky high. If you're still here, big up yourself. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. Do you think anyone will ever match what Kevin Lyttle did with Turn Me On? Or is he truly in a league of his own? Let's talk about it below.
Well, the thing is, I have hits inside the genre. I mean, I'm not knocking Bungie, knocking Marshall or any of them, but you know that soca music doesn't cross over like that. And a lot of the hits you hear in the Caribbean, they don't really make money. They play their hits for Caribbean people, but they're not hits anywhere else. So my one big hit is worth about 30, 40 of one hit from Marshall, from a Bungie, from I don't know whoever name you want to call. My one hit is 100 times, because even in dancehall, they don't sell records the way that.
And you were lucky because you had Spragga Benz on. You had one of the biggest.
Well, Spragga was lucky. I'm not the lucky
okay, yeah, that's right. Spragga was lucky to be on your song.
Need to get it right. Spragga was lucky.
Kevin Lyttle!
But I mean, it is what it is, you know. I mean, to even be called a one hit or
a one-hit wonder.
A one-hit wonder.
But you had other hits.
I had other hits
in the soca genre.
Exactly.
But this one big hit that you have is so big.
Yeah.
It causes so many problems.
Yes, it does. But you know, the people who are really my fans know it ain't no one hit.
Right.